I tell you, I can't, I just can't tell you. I can tell you.
Go ahead.
But I wanted to say, I just can't tell you how good I felt this morning thinking about coming down here and the fact that we've got such a large group of the best and brightest minds in Lincoln helping the city of Lincoln solve one of its toughest problems. And this is really a day to celebrate as a renewal of the public-private partnerships that have been so much a part of our success in the past. And would you join me in giving them a round of applause for agreeing to do this? So this is the kickoff of the new effort that we call On the Move. And I want to thank the Chamber and Wendy in particular for hosting us today and for hosting us in the future and for the work that the Chamber does every day to keep Lincoln strong and growing. I've said it many times and I'll say it again, we are living in a historic time in this city, a time of great growth and prosperity. Since the turn of the century, we've worked together to create Haymarket Park, complete the Antelope Valley project, build the Pinnacle Bank Arena, build out the West Haymarket, and many, many more projects across the city of Lincoln. It has changed the city, I believe, in some very fundamental ways. I strongly believe that the best is yet to come if we can take the necessary steps to set up our city for continued success in the future. One of those steps is strengthening our infrastructure, and that includes safe, accessible roads and a strong transportation network altogether. Our administration has made streets a priority. We've increased our investment by about 58% since the year 2010. We've worked with the state and the county and the RTSD to get the South Beltway project on track. But meeting the needs of a growing city, and we are growing, with limited resources remains a major challenge. We know from experience that we can accomplish big things in Lincoln by bringing all the parties to the table and developing a truly shared vision. It's time to take that approach again and apply it to our broader transportation strategy. The long-term transportation plan has given us the map. Now it's time to identify the priorities, processes, and the pathways to reach our destination. And that's why the people behind me are here today. They're members of the newly appointed Transportation Coalition. They represent many different sectors of our community and many different viewpoints, and they have all agreed to work together over the next 5 or 6 years. It says months in the script, but I was just testing you. To reach a shared vision of the futures of our future transportation system, a vision that helps inform transportation policy for the next decade or more. Their work will move us forward on implementing the long-term transportation plan in a way that keeps us on the road to future prosperity. I'm excited about the coalition we've assembled. They are an engaged, a talented, and a passionate group of people. They care about the city of Lincoln, and that's the most important thing. And again, I want to begin the process by thanking them all for their valuable service. To support their deliberations, we're offering full access to our city departments and to expert field staff and private sector experts in addition. In addition to these inputs, I also want to be sure that the public knows that it's invited to participate in this process. All coalition meetings will be open to the public. You'll find the meeting schedule and much more on lincolnonthemove.com. At that website, you'll be able to provide comments and ask questions about transportation issues. Public input is essential to a successful process. We do have 5 elected officials on the coalition. State Senators Adam Morfeld. Adam, you still here?
Yep, still here.
Yes, okay.
The 5-year thing.
City Council member Cindy Lamb. Thank you, Cindy, for being here. And Carl Eskridge. Carl. And then the other 2 are State Senator Mike Hilgers, who I think is not here yet, but will be with us for lunch in the main meeting. And Lancaster County Commissioner Jennifer Brinkman. I don't believe I saw Jennifer yet today, but she will be joining us. Their service is greatly appreciated. We are fortunate that 2 strong leaders have stepped forward to chair the coalition. Bob Caldwell, a person whose integrity and whose competence I value so much in this community. Vice President of NEBCO, of course, and we're delighted that he was willing to take on this leadership position. And with him as co-chair, of course, is Mickey Esposito, who is the person on the city side in charge of the operations under discussion. And I admire her for choosing all of these very sharp people who are
Very
going to be
sharp.
asking you some very hard questions.
questions.
Congratulations.
For 5 years.
So what we're going to do now is move on to Bob to talk about the goals of the coalition. And then we'll hear from a few more coalition members. And Adam, Senator Morfeld will be next. Randy Peters, who is a professor of civil engineering at UNL, former head of the Nebraska Department of Transportation, will speak. Chamber President Wendy Bergson. And you'll also hear from an old friend, Larry Dix, Executive Director of the Nebraska Association of County Officials. If you gentlemen can remember, and ladies can remember the order in which I read the names, you can just step up when it's your turn. So, Bob, thank you again, and delighted
Thanks,
to
Mr.
hear
Mayor.
from you this morning.
Appreciate it. Well, they say after the mayor speak, everybody doesn't pay attention, so feel free to text or email or whatever you need to do. Thank you, Mayor Butler. It's exciting to see you here today in one of NEBCO's buildings at the Chamber of Commerce, announcing just another way we can continue the positive momentum in Lincoln. You are truly a visionary, a servant leader that listens, and most important to me, somebody who delivers results. And as I was preparing my remarks, I was trying to find something profound. As I looked through my books on great political leaders, and I looked up quotes on Kennedy and Roosevelt, even Reagan, my favorite. But sticking closer to home, I think you are the inspiration for another great Nebraskan, Larry the Cable Guy. Because he is famous for saying, get her done. And I think you're our get her done mayor. And we should be proud of that. So thank you, Mayor Butler.
Thank you.
In addition, I'd like to thank Jim Abel and NEBCO. Without them, I would not be able to be here today in this volunteer capacity. NEBCO and the Abel family has been supporting Lincoln for over 108 years. And as I was looking at photos of the infrastructure of Lincoln, they started with a horse and wagon, went to the steam engine, ended up with the diesel trucks, where over 1,000 employees of NEBCO use the infrastructure every day to grow jobs in our community. My inspiration for volunteering for this effort is in relation to those hardworking men and women. They come from every part of the city in our company, from Havelock to Cornhusker, from Y Street to Lincoln Mall, from Saltillo to Highway 2, from Fallbrook to Haymarket Park. Our citizens, our employees, deserve safe streets, growing jobs, and a reasonable investment in our infrastructure. So how do we get there? What's this committee going to do other than look great in a photo? Well, we have 5 questions that we've been charged with to answer during our 5 to 6 months of work that we're going to do. The first question is, what are Lincoln's current preservation, optimization, and expansion needs? What are our needs? Then, what level of transportation infrastructure maintenance do citizens want? How do we maintain what we already have? Third, what transportation investments are needed to improve our quality of life? And believe me, we have a great quality of life and it can only get better. Fourth, what are those desired investment costs? Yes, if we want to have infrastructure, it does cost money. And five, the favorite question for everybody, what are the best solutions for the city to fund its current and future expansion needs? We'll answer these questions together by listening, as we talked about, to the citizens of Lincoln, listening to this all-star coalition who I thank for joining us today. So my job as chair is to keep us focused, keep us on schedule, to make sure we don't go the full 3 hours in any of our meetings, and find a solution for all of Lincoln. Now, these are lofty goals, but let's remember, our roads are the lifeline to good jobs, great schools, world-class medical care, and they also transport our most important asset, the citizens of Lincoln. We together can choose what kind of Lincoln we want to be. Let us join together to provide safe streets, growing jobs, and a reasonable investment. And thank you to the committee.
Well, good morning, everyone. I joked around with somebody a little bit earlier that this is the latest meeting that the mayor has ever invited me to. I think it's usually like a 6 or 7 a.m. type of meeting. But in any case, I'm proud to be here. My name's Adam Moorfeld. I'm the state senator for the 46th Legislative District in downtown North Lincoln and Northeast Lincoln. And, you know, the things that I'm concerned about, and particularly as a state senator who represents, well, half of my constituency is students. And so I'm concerned about how do we build a city of the future? How do we build a city where our current residents and our future residents can feel as though there is economic opportunity, prosperity, and safe infrastructure for them and their families? And so that's what I'm going to be focused on over the next 5 to 6 months on the coalition, and also making sure that the state continues to invest in our local and our statewide infrastructure. We've gone great strides over the last few years in making sure through the Build Nebraska Act and building other revenue streams to ensure that there are resources to have strong infrastructure in our state and in our local communities. But it has to start with local leadership. And I'm proud to be a part of this coalition to provide just that. Thank you.
Well, good morning. I'm Randy Peters, former director of the agency formerly known as the Department of Roads. And many people pay $1 if they get that wrong. So Department of Transportation. My current job is teaching civil engineering to students in UNL. And I want to thank Mayor Butler for inviting me to be on this committee. I, too, was kicking around for quotes. And didn't think of Larry the Cable Guy. But all great built infrastructure starts, you look through the prism of your own locality. So my wife and I live in the East Bryan neighborhood. And every morning I take a walk pretty early in the morning. And I walk by the statue of William Jennings Bryan there at Fairview. And one of his great quotes is that destiny is not a chance, destiny is a choice. And I think that's an appropriate thought for today's message. Lincoln is graced with many great leaders, and you see the leadership over and over again, and this is another example. As the former director of roads, I worked my way through the ranks there, spent many years on Lancaster County's MPO technical committee, and then later on the officials committee. And I can attest that their professionalism has always been very sound. And Lincoln is known for its collaborations. I contrast that with many other municipalities across our great state, and you can always count on Lincoln for the greatest outreach and the most effective collaborations. One of those that comes to mind is the Antelope Valley Parkway. I first started talking about that on the technical committees when it was a vision. Just, they say all things get built twice in infrastructure, the blueprints and then the building. And so we started talking about that in the early 90s, and then watching it come to fruition, and now having an office on the edge of it at Whittier is a very rewarding thing to see these infrastructures come from concept to reality. And I know that this group is going to have their hands full making those choices to make the new 2040 plan come to reality, but I really look forward to working with them. Thank you.
I think I'm next. If I'm not, I've got the podium control right here. Hi, I'm Wendy Bergson. I'm the president of the Lincoln Chamber of Commerce and the Lincoln Partnership for Economic Development. And I can tell you I could not be more proud to be part of this event today and this announcement. The Chamber has been around for over almost 150 years, and I can tell you that roads and infrastructure has been on the top of that priority list for every one of those years. It comes to the top of every one of our to-do lists for the years to come, and I can tell you that this really is an incredible advancement. I'm so proud that I'm thankful that the mayor has put this group together to actually do some serious work on it and come to some serious solutions. Roads are vital to our everyday life. They take us to our jobs, they take us to our businesses, they take us to our schools, and they take us home at night. And they are at the key to every economic development project. And so if we're going to sustain our community successes and continue to grow it to that next level, we've got to take a look at our infrastructure. And I know that we've got an incredible partner with the city, and if you look at this coalition that has been put together, it's an incredible group of folks. And we also know that history has taught us that doing things in a partnership is the way we achieve success here in Lincoln, Nebraska. And all you need to do is look around the city, down to the Haymarket, to Antelope Valley, to look at those successes. And that's my cue to leave. I'm confident that this group of folks can find a pathway forward. And I'm personally, again, want to thank the mayor for putting this together and look forward to those results that are going to happen inside of that 5-year number that the mayor gave us. So thank you very much.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Larry Dix, and I'm Executive Director of the Nebraska Association of County Officials. That organization has been around since 1894, and I think probably since the beginning and the inception of that organization, one of the primary issues that come in front of county officials, of course, are roads. We deal with roads continually, and so I want to thank the mayor for asking me to be part of this coalition, and certainly want to thank all the coalition members. I look forward to working together. I think it's a great group, and we're going to have a lot of fun and make some great decisions for the future of our community. I would tell you that I think it's so very, very important that collaboration plays a very, very important role on the demands of the transportation structure so that we can design something for Lancaster County and the city of Lincoln for future generations. It's important to bring city, county, and state leaders together to examine new ideas and ways to turn county roads into city streets as Lincoln continues to grow in the upcoming years. We are fortunate in the fact that we're living in a very vibrant city, and now it's incumbent on our government leaders to work together with one shared vision on how we can work with the surrounding county areas as they grow, as the city grows out into that area. Over the years, there's a number of examples in the state of Nebraska where you've seen that partnership work. We've seen it on any of you that have been in Hall County, the South Locust Street that connected out to the interstate that has transformed the entrance into Grand Island. Economic development, we've seen it in Madison County as they've worked with the city and Nucor Steel to develop a transportation infrastructure there so that they can rapidly move that product, and that has done great things for the economic development of that area. Previously, I had the opportunity to live in a place called McKinney, Texas, and when I moved there in 1998, there was about 40-some thousand people there. Now it's over 260,000, and it was very evident to me that that city and that county came together because they planned that infrastructure and they laid it out, and that was a part of the success of that community. So I think this is a very important step for Lincoln, for their future, and this committee will serve as a great jumping off place and great idea location to move the city of Lincoln forward. So thank you.
I think, as most all of you know, phase 2 of this morning is a bus tour. And I think you all are about ready to load onto the buses. But before we do that, let's handle your questions. I would say that's pretty good preparation, Nikki, when you've given them all the answers before we're even here. All right.
Fist bump, that's
Very good. Thank you all very much. Have a good morning.